Read Zakaria GPS, seen in Sunday morning 10 Eastern and Pacific.
There has been a lot of shouting and screaming on cable news about the Mosque or Islamic Center in Lower Manhattan. And if you're looking for that here, you have come to the wrong place. I want to have an intelligent conversation with intelligent people. So joining me now, Peter Beinart, a senior fellow at the New America Foundation and a contributing editor at Time, and Bret Stephens, of course, the foreign affairs columnist for the Wall Street Journal. Both of you have written about this topic. Bret, let me allow you to lay your position out, because it's not exactly Newt Gingrich's.
No, not quite. But my position, I guess, is twofold. On the one hand, I'm not going to make an argument that Imam Rauf, the man who wants to have the mosque on Park Place, doesn't have a complete constitutional and legal right to have it. He does. So let's put that to one side. The other question is, and I think the more serious question is, well, does this mosque really advance the purposes that he advertises? That is to say, interfaith understanding, dialogue, a new face for Islam in a very sensitive area. And my sense is that it fails on most of those counts, and that he ought to, in the interests of discretion, in the interests of interfaith dialogue, in the interests of having some kind of compromise position with what turns out to be an overwhelming majority of Americans, reconsider the location of the mosque.
What do you think, Peter?
With all due respect, I don't really understand the argument. I mean, all over America, we have religious institutions that set themselves up near neighborhoods where the vast majority of people in those neighborhoods would profoundly disagree, even find offensive their views. If a Catholic church wants to set up near a gay neighborhood in San Francisco, we don't say, yes, you have the right, but let's start asking you a whole series of questions about your particular set of views on gay rights, and in the name of sensitivity, we ask you not to build. People just build. It seems to me you can't divorce the right to do it from the ability to exercise that right, particularly in a context in which we now have people protesting mosques all over the country, very, very far from ground zero. And if these people are essentially to give in, it seems to me it sends a message all over the place that, well, maybe there shouldn't be mosques near military bases because, after all, so many people have died at the hands of Muslims there. We open up a very, very dangerous can of worms, and I don't think sugarcoating it by saying they have the right, but they should, in the name of sensitivity, not do it. I don't think that gets us very far.
Just briefly, I mean, interesting set of poll numbers. On the one hand, a clear majority of Americans have said that they wouldn't mind having a mosque 2 blocks from where they live, which is to say, just as this mosque is 2 blocks from ground zero. On the other hand, a majority of Americans also think this particular mosque shouldn't be 2 blocks from ground zero, and it's not the same thing as having a Catholic church in a gay neighborhood. Or, I mean, the analogy doesn't quite work. This is a particular...
Why not?
Sorry?
Why not?
Well, look, ground zero has a distinctive quality that's shared by very few other locations. Let's imagine another scenario. Japan is now essentially a pacifist nation. It's fully redeemed itself from the events of the Second World War. Let's imagine the Japanese government, in the spirit of outreach, wants to put up a sort of Japanese outreach cultural center across the street from the Pearl Harbor Memorial. Or the German government decides that it's going to put up a tolerance center across the street from one of the concentration camps in Poland, and people objected to it because it's a sensitive thing, and it's not necessarily a rational issue, but it's real, it's prevalent. I would be very surprised if the German government decided to put up the German...
But isn't another phrase for irrational sensitivities about large groups of people prejudice and bigotry?
No, because, look, there are a number, I mean, some of them are. Some of them fall into some different category. You know, this is an event where a lot of people feel very strongly that this mosque ought not to be in this particular
place.
The fact that it's a fact that you have to contend with, and the fact that 63% of Americans feel that way doesn't make those 63% bigots.
But I don't think we should make moral decisions based on the polls. If Japanese people need a place to pray, I mean, I think this is about prayer and religious liberty, and in Hawaii near Pearl Harbor, that's fine. It seems to me we do not deny people the right to religious institutions because other people of those same faith victimize people.
Bret, these people own the Burlington Coat Factory, which is the building in which they want to build this cultural center, there are already people praying there. So is it already, is already offending your sensibilities as we sit?
It's not a question of offending sensibility or my sensibilities. It's a question about offending a certain sense, and it has something to do with...
Does it offend yours?
Well, I don't know. I think the judgment there is still... I'd have to sort of withhold my judgment, and I wrote a column to that effect. For example, if he has this center, and we have a place where lesbian and gay Muslims feel comfortable, I would feel much better about this place because of the treatment of lesbian and gays in many Islamic countries. If women feel genuinely comfortable there, I'd feel much better about it. But what
this is going to really endear you to Sarah Palin.
Well, I'm not trying to endear myself.
With all due respect, do we ever ask these questions? Do we ever say about a church or a synagogue, well, are gay people welcome here? Are they comfortable here? It seems
you
to me,
don't?
No, in fact, in many forms of Judaism and Christianity, as you know, gay people are not allowed to participate openly in the service. Women are not allowed to participate equally in the service. And we say, if that's your theology, you go ahead and do it. If we don't agree with it, we don't go to your church or synagogue. That's the basic American principle. Once you start going down a laundry list of, well, do you agree with us on this question? Do you agree with us on this question? It seems to me you've opened a can of worms. We would never, ever tolerate that, it seems to me, for non-Muslims in this country. And that seems to me a profound double standard.
Look, all the time we are asking, particularly in your corner of the media, asking serious questions about the kind of stuff that's being preached in evangelical churches.
But not to
what
say
Pat
to close
Robertson
down
had
the
to
church.
say in the immediate wake of 9/11, that this was due to immorality in America and so forth.
But I'm not saying he can't have his church.
I'm not saying he can't have his church either. I'm not saying he can't have his mosque. I'm not talking about rights. I think we're talking past one another, Peter, and this is what I'm trying to get at. This is not a matter of the right and wrong of it does not simply extend to the constitutional question.
But what I'm saying is,
the rights of it are indisputable, and I'm not debating.
No, but I think this is a distinction without a difference. If you say that people have the right, but they shouldn't take advantage of that right, in fact, it seems to me you're denying them that right. And I think it will be a really dangerous turning in this country if we now have basically every imam around the United States who wants to build a mosque is given a questionnaire of 20 questions about their political views, and we say, if we agree with 17 of them, you can allow people to worship here.